A blizzard's fury descends upon Montana. Wind screams as snow engulfs the landscape. Amidst the swirling white chaos, Jake Sullivan's remote cabin stands alone, a beacon against the storm. Relentless snow piles high, threatening to bury the cabin under its icy grip. The howling wind becomes a character itself, a relentless force testing the cabin's resilience. Isolation deepens as the storm rages, cutting Jake off from the world. The cabin, a solitary haven, braces against the overwhelming power of nature's wrath. Inside the secluded Montana cabin, Jake Sullivan sits alone, a silhouette against the dim light. His eyes, windows to a tormented past, flicker with the haunting images of war. Restless and haunted, Jake is a prisoner of his own mind, battling the invisible wounds of PTSD. The cabin's silence amplifies the storm raging within him, a constant reminder of battles fought and lost. Each shadow in the room seems to whisper forgotten horrors, tightening the grip of his inner demons. Jake's haunted gaze reflects a soul struggling for peace in a world that offers none. Night blankets the Montana cabin as Jake opens the door to a chilling discovery. Blood stains mar the pristine snow, a stark trail leading to the porch. A tiny, black bundle shivers in the cold, its presence a haunting question mark. The stark tableau of blood and vulnerability pierces the serene Montana night. Inside the warm Montana cabin, Jake cradles a freezing creature, its tiny body trembling in his hands. He moves with gentle urgency, his face etched with concern as he shields the creature from the cold. Kneeling by the stove, he begins the delicate task of warming it, his hands careful and precise. The creature's breathing is shallow, almost imperceptible, adding to the tension in the quiet cabin. Jake's focused gaze never leaves the fragile life he holds, a silent promise of warmth and safety. Inside the rustic Montana cabin, night envelops Jake and the tiny pup. With infinite patience, Jake coaxes the pup to feed. Drop by precious drop, the pup writhes, a tiny warrior battling for life. Captivated, Jake's gaze never leaves the fragile creature. Hope flickers in the dim light as the pup finds strength. Sunlight pierces the Montana cabin's log walls, illuminating swirling dust and the quiet solitude of the morning. A soft whimpering draws Jake's attention to a makeshift bed where a fragile pup struggles for each breath. Hope flickers across Jake's weathered face as he observes the small creature, a spark of warmth rekindled. Hesitation marks his movements as he extends a calloused hand, drawn to protect the vulnerable life. Gently, he strokes the pup's head, the simple act awakening something long dormant within the depths of his soul. On a desolate, snowy road, Jake drives, his car struggling against the relentless onslaught of thick snow. The landscape is entirely consumed by snow, a white blanket erasing all familiar landmarks. He presses on, his determination etched against the backdrop of the overwhelming winter. Each rotation of the tires is a testament to his desperate journey towards the nearest vet. The car's headlights cut through the blizzard, a beacon of hope in the blinding snow. Inside the vet clinic, Dr. Patricia Mills gently examines a small pup, her kind eyes filled with professional curiosity. She carefully observes the pup's distinct markings and build, a silent assessment shaping in her mind. With a knowing look, she concludes a likely shepherd-husky mix, estimating its age to be around 2 weeks. Her gentle touch and educated guess provide comfort to the tiny creature in her capable hands. In the bright vet clinic, Dr. Mills carefully places a tiny puppy into Jake's waiting arms. The puppy, small enough to fit in one hand, looks up at Jake with wide, innocent eyes. This little guy needs feeding every 4 hours, around the clock, Dr. Mills advises with a warm smile. Jake stares down at the vulnerable creature, surprised by the sudden surge of emotion within him. The pup snuggles into Jake's palm, an unspoken bond beginning to form between them. He can't imagine letting it go, a silent promise made in the quiet of the clinic. Sunlight streams into the vet clinic as Jake crouches, his smile soft as he looks at the small pup. His fingers gently scratch behind the pup's ears, a tender moment of connection forming in the warm light. The pup wags its tail, its eyes sparkling with playful energy, mirroring Jake's gentle affection. Jake's eyes soften as he gazes at the pup, a silent promise of companionship passing between them. A declaration hangs in the air as Jake speaks softly, his voice filled with warmth. "I'm going to call you Shadow." Shadow, bathed in sunlight, looks up at Jake, ready to start their adventure together. Jake returns to his secluded Montana cabin, nestled deep within the vast wilderness. A comforting sight. Wisps of smoke rise lazily from the chimney, promising warmth. Nestled securely inside Jake's jacket, Shadow's curious eyes peek out, observing their return. The loyal canine companion surveys the familiar landscape with a gentle alertness. A serene tableau of homecoming, man and dog against the majestic backdrop of Montana. Inside the Montana cabin, Jake dedicates himself to Shadow's care. Jake throws himself into the task with military discipline. He carefully monitors Shadow's feeding schedule. Each meal is measured precisely. No room for error. Jake meticulously tracks Shadow's weight. His focus is unwavering. His dedication absolute. Inside the Montana cabin, the night is still. Shadow's eyes snap open, amber orbs gleaming with a strange, unnerving awareness. A spark of instant comprehension ignites within his gaze. Commands flow into his mind effortlessly. A silent understanding. He is ready. Snow blankets a rustic Montana cabin, the silence broken only by the whisper of wind through frosted pines. Jake's solitary shadow stretches across the pristine snow, a dark silhouette against the bright expanse. The crisp mountain air bites at exposed skin, a sharp reminder of the wild beauty that surrounds him. He explores the landscape, each footstep a lonely echo in the vast, snow-covered wilderness. Inside the Montana cabin, the fire casts dancing shadows as Jake, rugged and worn, fights a silent battle. A sudden, gripping panic attack seizes him. He clutches his chest, his breath shallow and ragged. Terror floods his eyes, reflecting the fire's frantic light as he struggles to find air. Shadow, the comforting dog, presses close, a silent anchor in the storm of Jake's panic. Inside the Montana cabin, shadows dance on the wooden walls, illuminated by the soft glow of the fireplace. Jake lies asleep, his face relaxed and free from the torment that has haunted him since the war. Moonlight streams through the window, casting a gentle light upon his peaceful slumber. The cabin is quiet, filled only with the soft crackling of the fire and Jake's even breathing. For the first time, in what feels like an eternity, Jake sleeps soundly, finding solace in the stillness. Weeks later, outside the Montana cabin, an extraordinary change is evident. Shadow's rapid growth defies nature. He's now the size of a much older dog. His youthful energy is amplified by his imposing size. The Montana landscape becomes a backdrop to Shadow's incredible transformation. His very existence becomes a spectacle. Under the bright sun of the town, Sheriff Tom Henderson, a man in his 60 seconds, stands on the sidewalk. A friendly smile graces his face, yet his eyes betray a hint of something deeper. With a sweeping gesture, he jokes, "I'm telling you, these kids today, they're all on steroids." Just kidding. Mostly. The humor hangs in the air, but it doesn't quite mask the shadow of unease that crosses his weathered face. The subtle shift hints at an unspoken truth, a sense that something is amiss in the seemingly peaceful town. The sheriff's jovial facade barely conceals the disquiet stirring beneath the surface. Sunlight dapples through the dense canopy, painting shifting patterns on the forest floor. Shadow moves with a hunter's grace, muscles coiled and ready beneath his dark attire. A rabbit pauses, nose twitching, unaware of the silent threat closing in. With deadly precision, Shadow strikes, a swift and lethal motion. The forest is silent once more, the only evidence a twitching rabbit. Across the darkened valley, a primal howl tears through the night. The sound echoes, haunting and long, across the silent expanse. Shadows deepen as the valley holds its breath, listening. An unseen presence makes itself known. The night vibrates with raw, untamed energy. In the dimly lit Montana cabin, shadows dance as Jake, rugged and weathered, sits by the fire, a cup of coffee warming his hands. A troubled look crosses his face as he glances towards the window, his eyes searching the dark expanse. A fleeting glimpse of glowing eyes in the darkness stirs a primal unease within him. He dismisses it as fatigue, yet a chilling sense of dread settles over him. Sunlight paints the inside of a Montana cabin, dust motes dancing. Shadow sits at a rough-hewn table, a figure of mystery. Before him lies a large, bloody chunk of raw meat. He eyes the raw meat with a predatory anticipation. Dogs cower as Shadow walks down the street, Their fear is palpable, a primal instinct triggered by his presence. Whimpering, they scatter, tails tucked, avoiding his gaze as he passes through the heart of town. An unnatural calm settles around him. Even the animals sense the shift in the world's balance. The townsfolk, though unseen, unknowingly hold their breath as Shadow continues his journey. Each step resonates with an ancient power, unseen yet felt, as he treads the mundane streets. Months later, the Montana cabin stands as a silent witness to Shadow's transformation. Shadow, lean and hardened, moves with the calculated grace of a predator. His eyes, once filled with uncertainty, now reflect the sharp focus of a seasoned hunter. Every step is measured, every movement precise, as he navigates the wilderness. 70 pounds of pure survival instinct, honed by the unforgiving landscape. Sunlight filters through the dense canopy, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. Shadow emerges, his presence unnervingly focused amidst the serene backdrop. His eyes, sharp and intense, scan the tree line. The forest holds its breath, mirroring Shadow's unnerving focus. Under the Montana sun, a weathered cabin stands as a silent witness to an impending confrontation. Jake, hardened by the elements, faces a crouching mountain lion, muscles coiled for a deadly spring. The air crackles with tension as predator and man lock eyes, each assessing the other's resolve. Jake's grip tightens on the axe handle, his knuckles bone white against the worn wood. A silent battle of wills unfolds, the fate of both hanging in the balance under the vast Montana sky. Sunlight bathes a Montana cabin as tension crackles in the air. A cougar lurks, its eyes burning into Jake. Shadow, a figure of fearless dominance, steps boldly between Jake and the wildcat. The cougar hesitates, sensing a superior force. A silent standoff unfolds in the Montana wilderness. In the Montana wilderness, a cougar freezes, its intense gaze locking onto Shadow near the cabin. The cougar studies Shadow, its predatory instincts assessing a rival rather than prey. A low, guttural growl rumbles from the cougar's chest, a warning echoing in the stillness. Sensing the challenge, the cougar begins its retreat, muscles coiling beneath its sleek fur. The cougar melts back into the dense forest, leaving Shadow alone under the Montana sky. In the Montana wilderness, Shadow trots back to Jake, his tail wagging. Shadow's wagging tail suggests the completion of a mission. The loyal dog's return marks a poignant moment. The Montana cabin stands silent witness to the reunion. On a snowy road, Jake, visibly shaken, guides Shadow, his breath misting in the freezing air. Purpose etched on his face, Jake presses forward, his brow furrowed with deep concern. He reassures his companion, his voice soft against the backdrop of the winter landscape. "Almost there, boy. Almost there," Jake whispers, offering Shadow encouragement. Inside the bustling vet clinic, the air is thick with anticipation and the sterile scent of antiseptic. Shadow, a massive presence at 90 pounds, lowers his head, ducking through the clinic door. His size fills the doorway, casting a large shadow into the bright interior. The clinic staff pause, their eyes drawn to the unusual sight of Shadow. A closer look reveals his teeth, long, sharp, and unsettlingly unlike those of a typical canine. An undercurrent of unease ripples through the room as everyone present takes in Shadow's distinct features. In a busy vet clinic, Dr. Patricia Mills stands, determination etched on her face as she tackles the day's demands. A focused veterinarian speaks into the phone, a silent promise in her eyes. "Yes, I'd like to order a DNA test kit. Case number 2347B. Thank you," Patricia requests. The fate of a mysterious case rests in the hands of a dedicated veterinarian. Sunlight fills the sterile vet clinic, dust motes swirling in the bright beams. Dr. Lee regards the protagonist with a blend of surprise and profound understanding. The result: Shadow is not a dog. He is a pure northwestern gray wolf. The revelation hangs in the air, forever altering their understanding of Shadow. Sunlight fills the vet clinic as Dr. Mills, her face etched with kindness, gently examines the small pup. Dust motes dance in the air, illuminated by the sun's rays. Dr. Mills's voice is soft with sympathy. The pup must have been abandoned by a starving pack during the blizzard. Her gentle hands continue to assess the pup, a silent vow to heal and protect. Under harsh fluorescent lights, Jake stares at Dr. Lee, disbelief etched on his face in the sterile vet clinic. A large, furry animal pants softly on the steel table, its presence commanding and unnerving. Jake looks down, a sense of unease creeping into his expression. Amber eyes meet his, a primal wildness swirling within their depths. A revelation. Sunlight floods the vet clinic, dust motes swirling as Dr. Mills stands, her expression a blend of sympathy and duty. Dr. Mills clasps her hands, the weight of her words hanging in the air. Her gaze is steady, conveying the difficult truth. Legally, keeping shadow is a federal offense, she states, her voice gentle but firm. The sunlight casts long shadows, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. Inside the sterile vet clinic, Jake is lost in thought. Moral questions swirl within him, a storm of doubt and determination. He stares intently, his face etched with resolve. The weight of his decision presses down, heavy and unavoidable. Shadow is more than a pet. He is Jake's lifeline. Shadow is the reason he is alive. Inside the vet clinic, days later, tension hangs heavy as Dr. Mills faces an unseen figure, her kind face etched with concern. Dr. Mills's expression turns grave, a silent prelude to the difficult words she's about to deliver. The weight of responsibility settles upon her as she prepares to speak, her eyes reflecting a deep understanding. Authorities will expect Shadow to be relocated, she says, her voice soft yet firm, cutting through the silence. Her gaze intensifies, emphasizing the gravity of her words, to a sanctuary, or released to the wild. The implications of her statement linger in the air, casting a shadow over the unseen figure she addresses. Sunlight floods the vet clinic, highlighting dust motes as Dr. Mills stands, her face a study in conflict. Bright light reflects off the sterile surfaces, casting long shadows that deepen the lines of worry on her face. Her hand hovers over the phone, a silent battle raging between duty and compassion. The sunlight seems to magnify her hesitation, turning a simple act into a monumental decision. Each dust mote dances like a fleeting moment of indecision as she contemplates her next move. The brightly lit clinic becomes a stage for her internal struggle, a stark contrast to the quiet drama. Under the cloak of night, Shadow's senses heighten, his eyes gleaming with primal awareness. Driven by instinct, he begins his nightly patrol of Jake's isolated Montana cabin. Each step is deliberate, a silent promise etched into the earth beneath his paws. Shadow marks the boundaries of Jake's land with a fierce possessiveness. The crisp night air carries his message, a warning to any who dare trespass. In the vast valley, darkness envelops the land as a solitary figure howls into the night. The mournful sound echoes through the open space, a primal call reaching out into the void. A response pierces the silence, distant wolves answering the call. Their chorus reverberates, creating an eerie symphony that binds the valley together. Sunlight filters through the dense canopy, illuminating the forest floor with dappled light. He trudges through the undergrowth, his boots sinking into the soft earth with each step. The bloodied deer carcass is dragged behind him, leaving a crimson trail on the leaves. Branches snap and leaves crunch under the weight of the deer, disturbing the forest's silence. A close-up of the deer's lifeless eyes, reflecting the dark looming trees above. The forest watches, an ancient and silent witness to the grim procession. Inside the Montana cabin, a deep bond remains, defying logic. The cabin is warm, filled with the scent of wood. Gentle loyalty permeates the air as the fire crackles. Dancing shadows flicker on the walls. At the edge of the dark tree line, a wild pack emerges, their eyes glowing with an eerie moonlit intensity. A figure cloaked in shadow approaches the pack, an enigmatic presence in the night. The pack pauses, their feral energy palpable as they assess Shadow, the air thick with unspoken tension. Moonlight glints off their eyes as Shadow steps into their midst, a silent exchange unfolding in the darkness. At the tree line's edge, Jake stands silhouetted against the fading twilight, the woods beckoning like a dark abyss. The last sliver of light vanishes, and Jake is plunged into the inky black, the forest's shadows growing deeper. His shoulders slump, a heavy weight of resignation settling upon him as he gazes into the impenetrable woods. A deep breath is taken, the cold night air filling his lungs as he prepares for a solitary vigil. Hope dwindles, replaced by the stark realization that Shadow may fade into the forest's depths, never to return. The rustling leaves whisper secrets, their mournful sound echoing Jake's own sense of loss and anticipation. After a long, unspoken conversation, Shadow silently pads back toward Jake's porch, his eyes reflecting the dim light. The night is still. Shadow settles down beside Jake, their shared silence a heavy blanket. Under the tree line, their figures are silhouetted against the darkness, a bond forged in shared experience. The porch creaks softly under their combined weight, the only sound in the quiet night. A solitary cabin glows, a beacon of warmth in the vast, snow-kissed Montana night. Soft snow blankets the landscape, casting long shadows under the starlight. Inside, Shadow and Jake stand silhouetted in the window's gentle light. Shadow's gaze flickers with indecision, torn between companionship and the call of the wild. His eyes dart from Jake to the dark, beckoning wilderness stretching beyond. A silent struggle plays out on his face, a battle between safety and the unknown. Months later, oblivious hikers wander onto Jake's forgotten land, sunlight dappling through the trees. Unseen, a deep shadow stretches protectively, a silent guardian watching their every step. The forest floor, littered with fallen leaves, muffles their footfalls as they venture deeper. Sunlight filters, casting an ethereal glow. They pause, unaware of the hidden presence. The shadows deepen, concealing secrets. Months later, a profound stillness blankets Jake's land, erasing the chaos of battle. The air is calm, only the soft rustling of grass disturbs the eerie quiet. No scars of conflict remain, only nature's gentle reclamation. The land breathes, confident in its renewed peace. An unspoken declaration resonates, ownership reclaimed by time. Jake's land stands silent, a testament to enduring dominion. Months later, Jake's land stretches out, serene under the open sky. A lone hiker pauses, camera in hand, drawn to the landscape's quiet beauty. The camera captures the vastness, a silent witness to the passage of time. Stillness hangs in the air, a peaceful panorama where life moves on. A lone face is illuminated by a phone screen, reflecting the shock rippling through their widened eyes. The video spreads like wildfire, each share igniting another screen with the spark of revelation. The glow of screens intensifies, casting long shadows across the faces of onlookers. Whispers turn to murmurs, then to shouts, as the implications of the video become clear. A town is united by a single shared moment of disbelief and dawning realization. Inside the sheriff's office, tension hangs heavy as the day breaks. Official vehicles arrive, kicking up dust in their wake. Wildlife agencies gather, their faces etched with concern. Maps are unfurled, and strategies are discussed in hushed tones. The search for answers begins, a race against mounting fear. A palpable sense of urgency fills the room as the team mobilizes. Dust devils swirl through the deserted town, an omen in the stark sunlight. Tom Henderson, etched with worry, grips Jake's arm with desperate urgency. His voice cracking with fear, Tom warns Jake in hushed tones. "Authorities are coming, Jake," he whispers, his eyes darting nervously around the empty streets. In the vast Montana wilderness, a remote cabin stands solitary, smoke rising gently from its chimney. The tranquility shatters as a convoy of Montana fish and wildlife trucks approaches, kicking up dust. Sheriff units follow closely behind, their presence signaling a serious operation unfolding. A transport van, ominous and gray, rumbles along, its purpose shrouded in mystery. The convoy surrounds the cabin, a silent siege in the making, the air thick with unspoken tension. The cabin, once a haven, is now the focal point of intense scrutiny, its secrets about to be revealed. Dr. Patricia Mills stands before a weathered Montana cabin, the crisp mountain air swirling around her. A wave of guilt washes over her face, her eyes darting nervously as if haunted by unseen eyes. Her worried gaze sweeps across the landscape, the silence amplifying her apprehension. Each gust of wind seems to carry a whisper of secrets, heightening her sense of unease. The Montana cabin stands in the crisp morning air, a silent witness to the drama unfolding. Officer Richard Brennan faces Jake, the weight of the situation heavy between them. A deep breath, a moment of hesitation before the difficult words are spoken. Officer Brennan's voice cuts through the silence. "Jake, we may need to remove Shadow." The unspoken implications hang in the air, stark against the backdrop of the Montana wilderness. Outside the Montana cabin, an unspoken threat hangs heavy in the air, casting long shadows across the rustic facade. Shadow's senses sharpen, his instincts screaming danger as he becomes the shield between Jake and the encroaching officers. A silent standoff ensues, the tension palpable as Shadow's protective stance conveys a clear message of defiance. The Montana sunlight glints off badges and steely gazes, each side unyielding in this charged confrontation. Jake watches, his fate hinging on Shadow's unwavering resolve, as the cabin becomes the stage for an imminent clash. In the Montana wilderness, sunlight bathes a rustic cabin, promising peace. But every muscle in Shadow's massive form tenses, a silent alarm. His senses sharpen, detecting an unseen threat. The air crackles with anticipation, a storm brewing beneath the surface of calm. Shadow remains still as a statue, every fiber of his being poised for action. At the Montana cabin, a sense of impending conflict fills the air. Tom Henderson arrives, a beacon of hope amidst rising tensions. Margaret Ellis, a retired federal judge, is standing beside Tom. Margaret's presence promises a turning point before the situation explodes. In the brisk Montana air, Judge Ellis stands before the cabin, his hair tousled by the mountain breeze. He gestures with conviction. Jake's relationship with Shadow constitutes a rare therapeutic bond, he declares. His words echo in the vast, open landscape, highlighting the unique connection. The judge's expression is stern, emphasizing the profound significance of their unusual bond. In Montana, a rustic cabin nestled among towering pines is bathed in the soft glow of morning, shadows painting the snow. She stands on the porch, the crisp mountain air causing her breath to mist before her. Her gaze sweeps across the snow-covered landscape, a silent plea forming on her lips. A deep breath fortifies her resolve as she prepares to speak her heartfelt request aloud. "I petition that Shadow be granted special status," she declares, her voice echoing in the still morning air. Sunlight warms the Montana cabin, casting long shadows as she gestures, her smile radiant against the rustic wood. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of pine as she speaks of transformation. She shows how Jake's nightmares, anxiety, and depression dramatically improved because of Shadow. Her voice is filled with warmth as she recounts the change. The camera lingers on She's expressive face. The Montana cabin stands as a testament to healing. Under the vast Montana sky, Dr. Patricia Mills sits outside a weathered cabin, a picture of focused intensity. Her fingers swipe across the tablet, each tap a precise note in her meticulous review of medical records. The sunlight catches the glint of her glasses as she pores over dates and symptoms, seeking clarity. A furrow deepens between her brows, the weight of the information settling heavily on her. In the quiet solitude of the Montana wilderness, she cross-references details with unwavering resolve. The tablet glows in her hands, a beacon of knowledge amidst the rustic tranquility of the cabin. A weathered log cabin nestled in a Montana clearing, dwarfed by towering pines under a brilliant blue sky. Crisp mountain air hangs heavy with the scent of pine, a stark contrast to the palpable tension. Sunlight streams through the trees, illuminating the cabin's worn facade, a silent witness. The idyllic setting belies the conflict brewing within, a storm gathering beneath a serene surface. Shadows lengthen across the cabin walls, mirroring the growing unease and unspoken words. Nature's beauty is a cruel irony, highlighting the human drama unfolding in its heart. The serene forest shatters as a colossal grizzly bear explodes from the dense foliage, its eyes burning with primal fury. Driven by the disturbance, the massive bear charges, its raw power shaking the very ground, a terrifying display of nature's brute force. The grizzly dominates the scene with its sudden and violent arrival. Every muscle in its immense frame is taut with rage, promising a brutal confrontation. The forest falls silent, save for the bear's deafening roar, a chilling warning echoing through the trees. Montana, a serene vista, the calm concealing an unseen threat closing in on a lone cabin. The air hangs heavy, a silent alarm before the storm, as danger stalks those unaware within. The peaceful facade belies the impending chaos, a stark contrast to the looming peril. Tranquility's fragile veil is about to be torn, revealing the storm that waits to engulf the unsuspecting. A rustic Montana cabin basks in the daylight, a deceptive calm before the storm. Hands tighten around weapons, a silent prelude to a deadly dance. The air crackles with tension as figures poised on the brink of action. A blur of motion, steel glints, and the world shifts into a frenzied ballet. Too fast, a whirlwind of violence engulfs the quiet landscape. The aftermath hangs heavy, the cabin now a silent witness to swift brutality. In the Montana wilderness, a cabin stands as a lone sentinel against the vast, untamed landscape. The quiet of the day shatters as a massive bear emerges from the dense tree line, its presence a looming threat. A figure moves with startling speed, a guardian stepping forward from the group of humans. Shadow positions himself decisively, a silent barrier between the humans and the approaching danger. His stance is firm, each muscle coiled and ready, a promise of unwavering protection etched in his posture. The air crackles with unspoken tension as the standoff begins, nature holding its breath in anticipation. Before a weathered Montana cabin, a man prepares to unleash a sound that defies nature. An ancient, thunderous growl erupts, primal and raw, tearing through the crisp mountain air. The sound's force is so intense that even a massive grizzly pauses, its muscles tensing. The bear is momentarily frozen, awed by the sheer power resonating through the landscape. Sunlight filters through the pines around a weathered log cabin, the air crisp with the scent of pine and damp earth. A scarred, grizzled wolf cautiously circles the cabin, its senses on high alert. From the porch shadows, a sleek, muscular mountain lion emerges, its eyes locking onto the wolf. Tension hangs heavy as the two predators face off, a silent battle about to begin. The tense standoff at the Montana cabin ends. The massive bear slowly backs away, its eyes still fixed. Relief washes over the cabin as the threat recedes. The bear turns, disappearing into the thick woods. Silence descends, broken only by rustling leaves. Under the vast Montana sky, a group stands in stunned silence, the morning sun reflecting off the glittering snow. Smoldering wreckage lies nearby, a stark reminder of the peril they've just faced. The air hangs heavy with the scent of burnt metal and lingering fear. Eyes meet, unspoken gratitude and dawning realization passing between them. A collective understanding dawns. Shadow has saved them all. The silence speaks volumes as the group processes the near-fatal encounter and their savior's bravery. Under the vast Montana sky, the mountain air is crisp, yet heavy with unspoken tension. Sunlight kissing the snow-capped peaks. The rustic cabin stands in stark relief against the towering pines, a shadow cast over its weathered facade. Whispers of wind weave through the trees, carrying a subtle sense of foreboding. Nature's beauty juxtaposed with an unseen dread, the landscape seems to hold its breath. Officer Brennan stands before a rustic Montana cabin, exhaustion carved into his weary face. His disbelieving gaze sweeps across the serene, yet unforgiving Montana landscape. The cabin, a silent witness, stands in stark contrast to the wild beauty surrounding it. Brennan's voice cracks the silence, a somber realization hanging in the air. Without shadow, he murmurs, the weight of his words heavy in the mountain air. We might all be dead, Brennan concludes, his words echoing the chilling truth of their survival. Under the Montana sun, a weathered cabin stands as Judge Ellis arrives, his silhouette marked with resolution. The sun beats down on the rustic cabin, casting long, stark shadows across the wooden facade. Judge Ellis stands firm, an air of weary determination etched onto his face, framed by the harsh sunlight. The cabin's weathered wood whispers tales of isolation as Judge Ellis approaches, his purpose unwavering. Montana's vast sky watches over Judge Ellis, a lone figure against the rugged landscape, ready to confront what awaits. A weathered cabin stands guard amidst Montana's towering pines, its rustic charm a stark contrast to the wild landscape. Sunlight filters through the dense canopy, casting long shadows that dance across the cabin's aged wooden facade. The air is crisp and clean, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth, a symphony of nature's own making. Inside the cabin, a landmark agreement is forged, its significance echoing in the silent majesty of the mountains. Whispers of negotiation fade as ink dries on paper, sealing a pact amidst the tranquil wilderness. The cabin, a silent witness, stands as a beacon of accord under the vast Montana sky. Sunlight kisses the Montana cabin, dust motes swirling in golden rays. Jake squints, his gaze sweeping across the seemingly endless land. A silent promise hangs in the air, determination hardening his features. Shadow can stay if Jake builds high fencing, installs strict safety measures. Bathed in the morning sun, the Montana cabin stands as a rustic silhouette against the vast open sky. Jake, rugged and weary, stares intently at a clipboard, the weight of the world etched into his weathered features. A heavy sigh escapes his lips, a visible manifestation of the burdens he carries. He begins to walk toward the cabin, each step deliberate and laden with purpose. A determined look hardens his gaze, steeling himself for the task ahead. He prepares to face the inspections, his resolve a stark contrast to the serene landscape. The Montana cabin stands weathered against the vast sky, a testament to resilience amidst the biting mountain air. Jake emerges, his figure silhouetted against the rustic wood, his gaze piercing and resolute. His expression is firm, etched with the weight of an unspoken vow, a promise to protect. He must ensure Shadow is never exploited, never reduced to a mere spectacle or breeding tool. The crisp air carries his silent pledge, a guardian's vow echoing in the Montana wilderness. A rustic cabin stands peacefully in a sun-dappled clearing, embraced by towering pines under a clear sky. Sunlight filters through the branches, casting dancing shadows on the cabin's weathered wooden walls. The Montana air is crisp and clean, carrying the scent of pine and unspoken warnings. An ominous silence hangs in the air, hinting at the gravity of the situation. If Shadow harms anyone, the permit is revoked instantly. The narration echoes, a stark reminder of the stakes. The tranquility of the scene is deceptive, masking the potential for swift and severe consequences. Bathed in sunlight, a rustic Montana cabin exudes warmth. Jake, weathered by the outdoors, stands ready. A woman in uniform hands Jake a document, her official smile softening as Shadow, a wolf, sits calmly beside him. "Congratulations, Mr. Miller," the woman says, her tone warm and professional. "Shadow is now officially recognized as a therapeutic companion animal," she confirms. Months drift by at the Montana cabin, marked by the changing seasons. Jake dedicates himself to Shadow's care, his life now revolving around the wolf. Sunlight filters through the trees, illuminating their shared quiet moments. Jake's weathered hands gently tend to Shadow, building a bond of trust. Shadow's eyes reflect a growing reliance on Jake, a silent understanding. The cabin, once solitary, now echoes with the rhythms of their intertwined lives. Sunlight paints the forest floor as Shadow, the hunter, begins his silent trek. Eyes keen and ever watchful, he treads softly, a master of stealth, each step measured, each sense alert for the faintest sign of life. The dappled light conceals and reveals as he scans the undergrowth, his focus unwavering. A flicker of movement catches his eye, and the hunt intensifies. The forest holds its breath. Night blankets the valley as shadows stretch and deepen, obscuring the edges of the world. A lone howl pierces the still air, a chilling reminder of the wildness that claims the land after dark. The wind whispers through the tall grasses, carrying the distant echoes of a pack's mournful song. Under the cold light of the moon, the valley seems to hold its breath, awaiting the dawn. Each gust of wind carries the potential for danger, a silent promise of the unseen creatures that roam. Under the vast Montana sky, a solitary cabin stands nestled amidst towering pines. A lone figure, Shadow, emerges, his presence a stark silhouette against the bright landscape. His gaze sweeps across the terrain, sharp and watchful, a silent promise of vigilance. Each step is measured, deliberate, as he begins his patrol of the surrounding land. The wind whispers through the trees, carrying with it the scent of pine and the weight of unspoken threats. Shadow moves with the grace of a predator, ever alert, a guardian against unseen dangers. Deep shadows fill the Montana cabin, the still, cold air illuminated only by the moon's soft glow through the window. Silence reigns within the cabin's walls, where the chill of the night seeps into every corner, undisturbed and profound. The moon casts an eerie light, painting the room in shades of gray, highlighting the solitude and starkness of the scene. A silent vigil begins in Jake's bed, a nightly return to memories and echoes in the heart of the Montana cabin. Inside the Montana cabin, the fire's soft crackle fills the air, painting the rough-hewn walls with dancing shadows. Outside, snow falls steadily, blanketing the world in a hushed silence. Buddy, the scruffy mutt, lies curled at Anna's feet, seeking warmth and solace. Anna strokes Buddy's fur, her brow furrowed in concentration as she loses herself in the book. The unspoken emotion hangs heavy in the air, a bond deeper than words between woman and dog, a connection that transcends the simple, finding comfort in each other's presence. The fireplace crackles, casting dancing shadows on the cabin's walls, filling the air with pine and wood smoke. Anna and Ben sit before the fire, a half-empty bottle of whiskey resting between them, a silent testament to shared grief. Anna's eyes, though weary, hold a quiet strength, a resilience forged in the face of unspoken pain. Ben's haunted gaze reveals a guarded heart, a soul wrestling with its demons in the firelight. Though separated by space, a palpable connection binds them, an understanding that transcends words. The gentle crackle of the fire underscores the quiet intimacy, broken only by the soft sighs of two souls intertwined. Sunlight paints the Montana cabin as the journalist hunches over a wooden desk, papers strewn around, a scene of rustic industry. An old typewriter clatters rhythmically, each strike echoing in the sparsely furnished space, a dance of words taking form. Empty coffee mugs surround stacks of research, fueling the journalist's relentless quest for the story. The journalist pauses, rereads, then types with renewed determination, the cabin filled with purpose and resolve. Inside the Montana cabin, the day's light casts long shadows, revealing a haven of rustic simplicity and quiet resilience. This is not the story of a man and a wolf, but of a veteran, his spirit scarred, finding solace in an unexpected friendship. The cabin stands as a silent witness to their bond, a sanctuary where shared solitude fosters healing and unspoken understanding. Each glance, each shared moment, etches a deeper connection, painting a vivid portrait of salvation found in companionship. Sunlight floods the Montana cabin, illuminating swirling dust motes and the silent stories they carry on their golden wings. Jake sits amidst stacks of letters, each a whispered secret from a distant life, a forgotten time. He opens one, the paper crackling softly, the weight of untold tales heavy in his hands. His brow furrows, a shadow of concern crossing his face as he absorbs the handwritten words. Each letter scattered around him, a testament to lives lived, loves lost, and truths buried deep within the Montana soil. Snow falls thick, enveloping the Montana cabin in a silent, white embrace. Wind howls relentlessly, sculpting drifts against the cabin's weathered wooden walls. Smoke ascends skyward from the chimney, a fragile signal against the vast, gray canvas. The landscape stretches, stark and unforgiving, a testament to winter's harsh dominion. Silence descends, broken only by the whisper of snow and the mournful cry of the wind. Nestled among towering pines, the Montana cabin basks in dappled sunlight, its weathered walls whispering tales of quiet summers. A gentle breeze stirs through the trees, carrying the scent of pine and wildflowers, a symphony of nature's tranquility. Sunlight paints the wooden walls, highlighting the rustic charm of the cabin, a haven of peace in the Montana wilderness. Shadows dance playfully, creating an atmosphere of serene isolation, as if the world outside ceases to exist. The air is still, the only sound the rustling leaves, a reminder of the simple, untouched beauty of the Montana summer. Amidst the vast Montana wilderness, a rustic cabin stands as a testament to a life carved from nature's embrace. Jake, weathered and strong, hews wood with practiced ease, the rhythmic thud echoing through the crisp mountain air. Shadow, loyal and watchful, surveys their domain, his keen eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of intrusion. Smoke curls lazily from the chimney, a warm promise of hearth and home amidst the untamed landscape. Under the golden hues of the setting sun, Jake and Shadow stand side by side, their silhouettes etched against the sky. Their bond, forged in solitude and resilience, reflects a deep connection to the land and to each other. Sunlight filters through the dense canopy, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. Shadow, a lone wolf, moves with untamed grace through the trees, His eyes gleam with a wild intelligence, reflecting the ancient spirit of the forest. He is never truly tame, never truly domesticated, a creature of instinct and freedom. Inside the rustic Montana cabin, a haven amidst towering pines, Jake begins anew. Sunlight filters through the log walls, illuminating the simple, quiet space where a soldier seeks solace. Each breath is a step, each sunrise a silent promise of healing in the tranquil Montana wilderness. The scent of pine and earth fills the air as Jake starts to rebuild his life. Outside, the wind whispers through the trees, carrying away memories as Jake embraces the present. In the heart of Montana, the soldier learns to live again, one peaceful moment at a time. The Montana cabin stands firm, its weathered logs bearing witness to time and the elements. An image of rustic strength, the cabin mirrors the enduring spirit of those who dwell within. Though unconventional, the inhabitants have forged deep bonds, weaving a unique kinship. Sunlight warms the porch, a silent invitation to a world where family is found, not born. The scent of pine hangs heavy in the air, a testament to the peace and resilience found within. In Montana's wild heart, a humble cabin basks in sunlight, its weathered wood whispering tales of solitude. Long shadows stretch and sway with the pines, painting the cabin in a dance of light and mystery. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of pine and earth, a silent symphony of the wilderness. An untouched vista, the cabin stands as a testament to resilience against the backdrop of towering pines. In the Montana cabin, dust motes dance in the sun, illuminating the scent of pine and neglect. A man sits hunched at a rough table, his slumped shoulders bearing unseen burdens. His face is etched with harsh lines, framed by a thick beard. He is a man broken by war, haunted by memories. A lone wolf stands silhouetted against the dense forest, its matted fur a testament to hardship. The forest holds its breath, acknowledging the profound solitude etched in the wolf's weary eyes. A single ray of sunlight pierces the canopy, spotlighting the wolf's weary frame. Nature seems to have abandoned it, leaving only a haunting sadness in its gaze. Sunlight floods a rustic Montana cabin, each ray illuminating the tranquility of a secluded refuge. Dust motes dance in the beams, each swirl a tiny ballet in the heart of the welcoming space. Shadows stretch and shrink, accentuating the cabin's comforting embrace. The air is still, filled with the quiet promise of peace and solitude. The wood crackles softly, a subtle sign of life within the serene cabin. Tranquility permeates every corner, a peaceful sanctuary in Montana's heart. Sunlight filters through the pines, illuminating a rustic cabin nestled in a Montana clearing. The crisp air hints at the untamed wilderness surrounding their isolated retreat. Their bond, defying law and instinct, thrives in this secluded haven. Isolation breeds a world where societal norms hold little sway, challenging their connection. The Montana cabin stands as a silent witness to a love unbound by expectation. Under the vast Montana sky, a weathered log cabin stands as a silent sentinel, its rustic charm bathed in the warm sunlight. Time and harsh weather have etched their marks, yet the cabin endures, a symbol of strength in the wilderness. Sunlight dances on the aged wood, highlighting the cabin's resilience against the backdrop of untamed beauty. The cabin nestles peacefully, a rustic haven amidst Montana's stunning expansive wilderness. A lone cabin nestled in Montana, framed by snow-capped peaks, breathes in the crisp mountain air. Sunlight spills across the scene, painting long shadows that dance among the pines. The rustic cabin exudes warmth against the stark, snow-covered landscape. The scent of pine and wood smoke hangs heavy, a comforting aroma in the mountain air. A serene tableau of nature's grandeur and human resilience unfolds under the vast sky. Sunlight splinters through the dense canopy, painting the forest floor with shifting mosaics of light and shadow. The heavy, damp air carries the scent of earth and decaying leaves, a primal aroma of life and rebirth. Birdsong cascades through the trees, a vibrant symphony celebrating nature's enduring resilience. A sense of wild, untamed freedom permeates the atmosphere, hinting at the heart of the wild. Under the vast Montana sky, Jake sits on the porch of his cabin, weathered wood beneath him, eyes fixed on the horizon. Shadow, a loyal guardian, silently patrols the perimeter, a silhouette against the backdrop of towering pines. Sunlight bathes the cabin, casting long shadows that dance with the gentle breeze rustling through the trees. Jake's gaze is distant, lost in thought as he watches Shadow, the bond between them palpable in the quiet air. The stillness of the Montana day is broken only by the occasional call of a bird, a symphony of solitude. A sense of watchful peace settles over the cabin, a haven nestled in the heart of the wilderness. Inside a cozy Montana cabin, Jake stands at the stove, the aroma of stew swirling through the wooden beams. Shadow, a golden retriever, sits faithfully by Jake's feet, his tail a soft rhythm against the floorboards. The simmering stew sends warmth and promise through the dimly lit cabin, a haven against the night. Jake stirs the pot, a peaceful silhouette against the soft glow, content in his solitude and Shadow's quiet company. The forest at night, a symphony of shadows dancing between ancient trees. A lone wolf howls, its mournful cry slicing through the stillness. The sound echoes, bouncing off the dense foliage, carrying on the wind. In the distance, a chorus rises, a pack answering the call, their voices haunting. The night pulses with the raw, untamed energy of the wild. Inside the Montana cabin, the warm kerosene lamp casts a gentle glow on Jake's weathered face as he sits at the wooden table. Worn and creased, the letter in his hands speaks of times long past, its secrets etched into every fold. As he reads, a rare, genuine smile touches his lips, hinting at a cherished memory or a long-awaited resolution. The cabin is silent save for the soft crackle of the lamp, a peaceful sanctuary embracing Jake in the quiet night. In the stark beauty of Montana, Jake and Shadow traverse a forest blanketed in pristine snow. The crisp air bites as they move deeper, their figures stark against the white expanse. Each step crunches softly, the sound swallowed by the vast, silent woods. Winter's grip tightens, but they press on, undeterred by the cold's embrace. Night blankets the Montana cabin, casting long shadows that dance with the firelight. A comforting presence, Shadow curls up at the foot of Jake's bed, a silent guardian in the stillness. The only sound is the gentle crackle of the fire, a warm contrast to the cold Montana night. Jake sleeps soundly, unaware of the loyal protector watching over him in the quiet cabin. Under the vast Montana sky, Jake battles the stubborn wood, hammer echoing against the quiet of the mountains. Sweat beads on his brow as he tames a loose plank, his focus sharp against the rugged backdrop. Shadow, a sable sentinel, watches with unwavering loyalty, his gaze a silent promise of companionship. Man and dog, bound by the land, stand as a testament to resilience amidst Montana's stark beauty. In the dim Montana cabin, Jake thrashes violently in his sleep, lost in the grip of a terrible nightmare. Sweat glistens on his brow as ragged breaths escape his lips, each gasp a silent scream in the night. A dark shape, Shadow, emerges from the darkness, a silent guardian materializing beside the troubled bed. With gentle intent, Shadow nudges Jake's hand, a soft touch against the storm of his subconscious. Slowly, Jake's breathing begins to even, the frantic pace of his heart calming under Shadow's presence. The tension melts from his face, the nightmare receding like a tide, leaving a fragile peace in its wake. Bathed in the Montana sun, Jake kneels in the grass, a worn tennis ball held gently in his hand. Shadow, a scruffy border collie mix, sits patiently, his tail thumping softly against the earth. "Okay, Shadow, new one today," Jake says softly, his gaze meeting the dog's eager eyes. A gentle breeze whispers through the surrounding pine trees, carrying the scent of earth and pine. "It's called balance," Jake continues, a playful glint in his eyes. "Watch." Sunlight filters through the dense canopy as Shadow moves with predatory grace, a hunter in his element. He stalks through the undergrowth, his senses sharp, focused on the task of providing. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig is a clue in the silent drama of survival. The forest watches, a silent witness to Shadow's dedication and skill in the ancient dance of hunter and prey. Inside a cozy Montana cabin, a crackling fire throws flickering shadows across the rugged log walls. Jake, mid-30s and handsome, relaxes on a worn leather couch, the picture of rustic charm. Shadow, a majestic Siberian husky, rests peacefully, its eyes mirroring the fire's warm, inviting glow. A serene silence blankets the room, punctuated only by the soft crackle of the burning wood. Vast Montana wilderness stretches before Jake, an untouched expanse of rugged beauty under the open sky. The Montana cabin stands as a solitary haven amidst the towering pines and endless horizon. Sunlight bathes Jake's face as he gazes out, his eyes reflecting a newfound serenity. A profound sense of peace washes over him, the weight of the world momentarily lifted by the wilderness. Inside a Montana cabin, the kerosene lamp casts a warm glow on Jake, a weathered man absorbed in his journal. The fire crackles, its dancing shadows accentuating the rustic charm of the log walls. His brow furrowed, Jake meticulously writes, the pen scratching softly against the worn leather. Each stroke of the pen seems to carve deeper into the silence of the night. Under the vast Montana sky, a rustic cabin stands as a silent witness. Jake and Shadow stand together, their connection a tangible force in the serene landscape. Side by side, they embody an unbreakable bond, their figures silhouetted against the Montana horizon. On a majestic mountaintop, Jake and Shadow stand silhouetted against the vast Montana wilderness. The sweeping panorama emphasizes their smallness against the grand scale of nature. Sunlight bathes the landscape, underscoring a moment of serene beauty and boundless opportunity. The rugged terrain symbolizes their hard-won freedom. A shared glance between Jake and Shadow confirms their unique, unbreakable bond.